to just show a short video where the women themselves speak about what this network has done thus far and what it has meant as a project. So if we can pull the video in. We're having technical
difficulties. Yes. Can you give me a second?
Of course. This is all new for us, learning on how to live stream.
Thank you, Yvette.
That was really lovely. Thank you so much. I wish we were all singing together. That would have been super, super fun. Thank you so much. And please, if you can, if you would put in the chat function the link so that we can join you on a Sunday, that would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
Thank you. So if we can ask Philly to join us with Zaza to hear about what's happening in Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much, Yvette and Tosin Auntie Shine. Beautiful, beautiful. There's something amazing that Auntie Shine said, that nobody can tell a story about you. I'm a strong believer of telling your story. That is an amazing thing, and no one can take that away from you. Thank you so much, Auntie Shine. And we continue with this brilliance. Hello, everybody. My name is Philisiwe Twenstra, and I am a storyteller as well. I'm a writer, I'm a playwright, I'm a director. But most of all, I'm a woman who loves to connect with creatives around the continent. And today we are doing that. We're continuing with that. You know, I'm laughing now because, you know, Zaza Muchewa, damn, girl. Guys, we are blessed today. We are blessed to have Zaza Muchewa. I am not going to say a lot because I would like Zaza to introduce herself to us. Hi, Zaza.
Hi, Philisiwe. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here to talk about my work and also hearing the work that other women creatives are doing across the continent. So I'm a poet, playwright, theatre director, and arts manager, and I'm currently serving as the associate artistic director for Almasi Collaborative Arts, which is a Zimbabwean American collaborative that aims to contribute towards the professionalization of the dramatic arts in Zimbabwe using arts education and collaboration with professional American organizations and artists.
Ah, lovely. That's how I met you, Zaza, through Almasi Arts. I was bored watching YouTube, surfing, looking for work and networking, and boom, on YouTube, I see these well done, well directed play readings on YouTube. Like, well, plays that I can't even find in our own library. And when I kept on Googling, it was Almasi Arts in Zimbabwe. How did you end up, how did you find this?
So yeah, I had been working in the performing arts space for like probably around 6 to 7 years. That's when I was invited to shadow the director who had come to direct Danai's African premiere of Danai's play, The Convert. It was being performed for the first time in Africa, in Zimbabwe, in 2013. So I was asked to then be the two young directors from Zimbabwe who would then shadow the American director who had come to direct this full production of The Convert. And from then, so then I then got connected to the co-founders and to the executive artistic director, Danai Gurira. And she then invited me to be part of the team for Almasi Collaborative Arts. and when I got into in the production, I think it was a really exciting time, just seeing how people who come from a space where there are resources, where there's funding to actually do full productions in a proper way, with due process and all of those things. Just learning from that and seeing how this American director was coming from that space, also was now dealing with the challenges of making work in Zimbabwe. I mean, we experienced power cuts in that production, but he had the foresight. Exactly, he had the foresight to actually start planning ahead and thinking, okay, so if we have a power cut, what are we going to do? So we had to have a generator in place in order to make sure that the performance would happen either way. And so we'd have, in the middle of the show, power goes, and then I had the wonderful task of having to go to the in front and explain to the audience that we've just experienced this power cut. We're going to switch over to a generator now, and the actors are going to then start again from the top of the scene or continue from where they left off. So the actors will just freeze on stage and wait for the electricity to be then fixed and for the show to go on. So yeah, so it opened my mind to the possibilities that exist, even if you're working in a space where there's so many challenges, there's so many things that go wrong each and every time. And just thinking in terms of, okay, so how do you move around, or how do you navigate those challenges whilst you're making sure that you're actually going through the process, and you're also actually just making sure that the product at the end is good. So yeah.
Wow.
In a roundabout way, this is how I got involved.
Wow. Wow.
Massive.
Lovely. But the thing is with the generator that it adds another sound in the play. I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had to actually, we had to situate it a bit further from the building.
Well, that's not.
Because now we're not trying to think, how can we get a generator that is got a silencer or something? So.
Wow. Lovely. That's amazing. Okay, then how did you get into theater though? Theater and writing. When did you know that you are a thespian, a creative? When did you have that knowledge?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I grew up in a house where I was surrounded by books. My father is a writer and an academic, and he loves books. So we grew up surrounded by books, reading books, and just losing myself in the worlds of those stories that I read. Some of them I wasn't permitted to read them at that particular time, but I would still read anyway.
Which authors? Which books? Daniel Steele, maybe?
Not even. Because they were like, we had top shelf books. We were told these top shelf books, you cannot read them because they're not appropriate for your age. But now I think as an adult, now I realize that I guess a story is a story. And really in terms of appropriateness, maybe it's just a matter of just then speaking to a child and interrogating what it is that they're getting from that story, and aligning that with the values that you're trying to raise them to aspire to. So I grew up in a space where I was surrounded by books, and also in a culture of storytelling. My grandmother was a big storyteller, and one of the things that I loved about going to our rural home during the school holidays was the evening by the fire stories that Ambuya would tell us, or would actually also even ask us to tell our own stories as well. So from that culture of storytelling, from reading books, I've always known that I wanted to write my own story, to also tell my own stories. But in terms of really thinking in terms of theater, I had gone to theater shows as a child, and I'd also participated in theater shows in school as part of our learning process. But I think one event or one incident stands out for me when I was doing my A level, and we went to the local theater at Charles Austin Theater, and I watched this two-hander. I think it was called Vuka Samora Vuka or something. Just seeing how these actors managed to transport us using minimal set and props, transporting us beyond the stage to tell the stories about Samora, the person, the legend, and the human being. I was really moved. I was speechless. We were given a chance to meet the actors, but I couldn't even say anything. I was just looking at them thinking, wow, what magic are you doing? How are you able to do these things? So I think from that moment on, I realized the power of theater, and I was like a moth to a flame. I was drawn to it from that moment on. And it was at the back of my mind that somehow, some way, I'm going to be involved in theater. And of course, my parents, being Zimbabwean, were not very keen on a child pursuing anything within the arts. But eventually, I managed to get involved. I started by volunteering at a local theater in Harare, where I learned the business of it, the behind the scenes things that happen in order for magic to happen, which was really good, which was really important, because it formed my foundation in terms of theater knowledge and theater experience as well. So
my follow-up question was about Zimbabwean theater, but I think you've covered that. But I'm curious, how did, during COVID, I mean, we still are in COVID, how did the artist manage or survive? How was it for you specifically, Zaza, during COVID? Well, we still are in COVID. Yes. How is it? How are you doing?
Yeah, we're still. Yeah, that is a loaded question, Pili.
I know.
How am I doing?
I know. And then you'll tell us. Then you'll tell us about your show that premiered, I think, 2 weeks ago on YouTube. I saw it. Okay. I saw it. Please move on to that afterwards. So excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was lucky enough to still continue doing work virtually. And also I got support to do a project last year called womxn, which is really a project that seeks to create a platform for women to explore the issues and challenges that they face in their personal and public lives that hinder them from actually living lives that are well-rounded, that hinders them from living lives that where their wellness is priority and is taken care of. So we're doing lots of research. We also did a playwriting workshop where I invited other experienced and established playwrights and teachers to come and teach young women the craft of writing, not just writing for the stage, but then the tools in terms of what are the tools that you need in your arsenal as a writer. And then from there, we also then commissioned plays that were performed. Last year, we met in person, we recorded at a theater in Harare, and then we then broadcast those live on Facebook. But with the surge in cases in January, because we also had 4 more plays that we needed to do, we ended up doing everything now virtually, literally everything virtually, from rehearsals on Google Meet to then streaming the performances from StreamYard onto Facebook.
Wow.
And each actor performing from their home to a live audience. So yeah, so there was that blessing of being able to do work during this difficult time, because then you focus less on the idea of we're living in interesting times. And I'm not saying interesting as a good way, as a good word, but interesting in that this phenomenon has not happened to us in a while as human beings. And the mental toll on people is, I mean, with the deaths, with the scares and all of those things. It has been a difficult time for many, and I recognize that, and I recognize how incredibly blessed I was to be able to then focus on creating work, doing the things that I love during this difficult time. And also, I guess COVID also then pushed me to also think in terms of different avenues for performance. And I mean, like what I was saying about streaming a performance live onto Facebook from a person's home, the stage has changed. The whole theater experience has changed. And does that mean that it's not theater anymore? I don't think so. I think it is. I think it.
All right, Miss Michela.
I think it is.
All right. We are
no, but
I
also. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I was going to
say, yeah. I wish we had more hours. This is so interesting.
Yeah, it's I think the challenges in Zimbabwe are quite unique to Zimbabwe. Like, so even with these plays that I was talking about that we're streaming onto Facebook, the last 2 plays, I ended up having to go to a friend's place to broadcast the performance, because an hour before the show was supposed to start, Zesa decided to abscond. So power went, and then it's like, okay, I cannot broadcast this. I need power. I need internet. So those are some of the challenges in which you have to mitigate. You have to think ahead. I mean, we'd spent, I think, at the better part of last year, we didn't have any load shedding. We had power throughout the day, throughout the week. But then the moment that you want to do work, the uniquely Zimbabwean challenges will come and get in the way of the work that we are trying to do. So,
all right, Miss Michela, that was very informative, and I recognize everything that you just said. That's a lovely thing about being in the continent with so many countries, but our problems are quite similar as well. Also, maybe not in some moments. Do you have something for us? Just short, because we are really out of time. Anything for us? Bless us.
You sent me a message asking if I have something, and I was trying.
And if you don't have anything, it's okay. No pressure.
Sure. Let me. I'm looking at a play that I wrote. It's called The Fourth Interrogation. I'm going to read a monologue from there.
Ma? Erra.
Oh, what's going on, Zaza? I think we lost Zaza.
Oh yes, yes. I'm just looking through. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to read a short monologue from the fourth interrogation. No, Timothy. She has not shown me her heart yet. Fine, I will. Okay, okay. You tell her. Go ahead. When I was growing up, my only dream was to be the best of what I could be, to be good at school, to be a good son, to help my father. When I lost my mother for selling tomatoes, they came for my father, but he fought them. They killed him in front of me. The people upstairs found me wandering and threw me in here to teach my mother a lesson. For every time she made me laugh, they would come and throw water on me or make me stand for a long time outside the cell with a guard telling me that fun is bad. My child's body could not take such cruelty for long. I died, but remained with my mother to give her strength and a little laugh now and then. I never knew how deep the oppression went until I saw my little boy waste away before me. With each of his dying breath, my heart broke into many pieces. I swore I would fight. I would fight to keep my heart, and I would keep the ones who have passed on in here alive in memory, alive in resistance. In this place, you must learn to build dreams that are sustainable. You listen to the dreams of others, and you hold on to them for them. That is how you live here.
Yes. Thank you so much, Zaza Machewa. You are a wonderful, inspiring, amazing creative, and I would love to read your work. Thank you so much for this moment, for blessing us as well. Over to you, Yvette.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zaza. That was very moving. And again, I'd say if there's any way we can access your work, whether it's video of productions or written work, please again put in the chat function so that we can access this material. Or indeed how people could contact you directly if they want to maybe look at a script of yours or think about collaborating with you. So, that I'm sure that you've really whetted our appetite and we'd really like some more. We set quite small times today for each one. And of course, we've realized that we've miscalculated. We should have given much more time for the artists and their work. And this is something we'll learn for next time. So thank you so much. So Lebo has managed to join us. She's had a bit of trouble getting in. So we're going to immediately go over to her, Neo. And so thank you, Zaza and Philly. And Neo, if I can invite you to.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, Lebo. My stress levels were up to here.
That's understandable. I'm so sorry. And thank you, Yvette, for being so gracious with your explanation.
Yeah.
when actually I just had
Yeah, no, we'll get to that in another platform. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Lebo. Without taking too much time, because I think we run over time, I'll just quickly introduce myself and then the platform will be yours. To everyone who has graciously joined us, thank you so much for being a part of this exciting new venture of ours. Thank you so much for being such a beautiful, understanding, and mostly a patient audience, because we've had so much technical glitches, errors, miscalculations, etc. But you guys decided to still be here. So thank you so much. My name is Neo. I'm a woman, I'm Black, I'm a creative, I'm a dreamer. I am all things that have to do with expressionism and the arts. I'm so proud to now be actually lecturing. And who would have thought that me of all people, because I'm quite out there in terms of my art. I can't believe that I'm actually lecturing someone's child and writing and directing and producing. In terms of my independent work, I love to do stories that push the boundaries in terms of just being a mirror to what's going on in society, you know, the truth that people want to put a lid on because it's too raw and it's too scary. I want to reveal it because it's still our reality anyway. So that's me in a nutshell. And I can't believe that Lebo is here because Lebo was actually my lecturer once upon a time. Yes. So over to you, Lebo. Tell the people who you are.
Hi, everybody. I'm oh, hello.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a theater maker. I focus a lot on physical theater, so the integration of movement, words, music. That's kind of the aesthetic that I've been working on and trying to develop my practice in that direction. I'm an educator and I'm an academic. So I'm actually a lecturer at the University of Botswana, although I'm currently on study leave and I'm pursuing my PhD at the yes, well, I am pursuing my PhD at the University of Alberta, but I'm in Botswana at the current moment due to COVID-19 restrictions, protocols, etc., etc.
So in other words, you're a powerhouse when it comes to the arts.
I mean, I don't know about that. I certainly don't feel like a powerhouse, but I have invested a lot of my energy in trying to build up the theater industry in Botswana for better.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to divert because I actually had a structured document here in terms of what I want to ask you, but I feel it's important for our lovely audience to just understand from a Botswana point of view why we decided as brave women, young women, to embark on this journey that a lot of our parents and the older clan deem impossible and crazy. So let me just dive straight into that, Lebo. What force on heaven or earth made you decide that theater is the way for me, the art is the way in Botswana?
That's a good question. I'm no longer sure that I know the answer to it, but it started out with doing drama in high school, and I really enjoyed drama, and then I also really enjoyed accounts and chemistry, but I didn't do pure sciences, so anything scientific was automatically out. So it was supposed to be accounts actually. And then I always tell the story about our accounts teacher when we were doing Form 4 and she was teaching us profit and loss. It was a bad term for us, that term. The term of profit and loss, it was terrible. And she comes to us, we're seeing our behinds, the whole class, like literally the whole class. This profit and loss thing dealt with us. And then, so now she's frustrated because we're not getting it. And then she's like, do you know, in accounts, you account for.
Yeah.
And of course, like overactive imagination, I imagine myself working for some multi-million conglomeration, and they're there in the millions and millions that this company owns. I must now find a tebe. I don't know how that was the thought process, but that was my thought process. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
No, I will not be looking for tebes within millions. So let's come back here so that when I am struggling, when I am suffering, I am struggling and suffering for something that I enjoy, that I appreciate, and so that I have something to keep me going. So then I decided to pursue drama. So I ended up doing film and media studies with a minor in drama, and then I did a BA in drama afterwards. And then I just kept on pursuing drama. I went to go do my master's at the university at Wits because I heard that the department at UB had been set up, and they might, you know, and I didn't know that they might start looking for a lecturer or not. But I went to see the then head of department, Professor Kerr, and I was like, yo, I hear y'all have a department that offers theater programs. What's happening with that? He's like, well, we just started. We don't really have jobs or job openings at the moment, but you know, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do my master's while I wait for y'all to grow and come up with positions. So that's what I did. But I essentially went into teaching because I thought it was a good way to have a basic income, but to still have some flexibility to be able to create work, to be able to be part of productions and stuff like that. So that's kind of the journey I took. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a similarity with you and I, because for me, it started out being like an individual thing, you know, the solo mission that this is what I want to do, without taking into consideration about the implications of, okay, are you gonna get a job at the end of this? How are you going to survive? How are you going to convince the people who invested in your education that they're going to get a return on their investment? So those are the things that I went through as well. And yeah, so now I'm going to just dive into what I think is now the serious stuff. We have COVID-19, and the way that Botswana has dealt with it is obviously quite different from other countries, because right now Botswana, I think it's one of the few, or if not the only country, that's currently under the state of public emergency, or SOE, state of emergency, which means, yeah, so, and right now our creative industry is practically the one that's not open. So with that being said, there's the digital space in terms of, you know, the opportunity to create new audiences and share content with other people. But from a theater point of view, what do you think, us as Botswana theater practitioners, are we making use of this digital space, looking at our COVID situation? Is it possible? Is it feasible? Or are we just being lazy?
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that we're being lazy. We're definitely not being lazy. We're broke. That's for sure. We're broke, so that, you know, that puts one problem on top of another. We were always broke, to be fair. But now the challenge with being broke is, you know, now it's not in, you know, you can't get a team. It's not enough to get a team together, because before, you know, you could hustle, I could talk to Neo, and then I could talk to another person, and we could put on a play, get some people, and then make some gate takings. So now there are no gate takings. You can't get gate takings because you can't call people into the space. And filmmakers, videographers cost money. It costs money to record a show. It costs money to edit a show. And we didn't have money to begin with. It costs money to create a show, right? And we didn't have the money to create the show to begin with. And now we're supposed to like find the money now to also pay somebody to come and record the show for us and edit it so that we could put it up on the internet or wherever for people to view. So that's the challenge. So we can't even get to whether people are lazy or they're not lazy, because they just, you know, there's just so many obstacles. So it becomes easier. And at that point, you know, as a creative, it's just like, okay, if I'm gonna pay a filmmaker, why not just make a film? Why not just make a TV series or whatever, a pilot, shoot a pilot? If I've got that money to put together, why not shoot a pilot? Because maybe I can sell that and actually make money. And even if you want to make money to put on your theater productions, there's still the challenge that you can't get people into the space with you. So yeah, so I think that's the biggest problem. Can't even deal with things about, you know, our creative capacity. How do we improve our theater making and things like that? Because we are yet to get to. We're still just trying to make theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very sad, isn't it? And that's very sad because I think the main difference, if we are being fair, the main difference where Botswana is concerned is that the talent is there. It's in abundance. It's the infrastructure which is literally preventing even me just recording something on my phone. I'm still the chances of me getting somewhere in terms of the response of our neighbors, it's very very little, because infrastructure also means the cultural perception of what the value of art is and what the contribution that it plays in the long run towards the economy and development. I mean, you were there when I graduated in 2014. This is 2021, and the National Arts Council bill was just passed last year.
Yeah.
So, okay, because we're running out of time, I just want you to answer this as honestly as you can. As a Motswana, and when it comes to the arts, like, how do you measure the value of art and creativity?
Wow, that's a that's such a multi-layered question. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you mean by that?
Okay, so I'm trying to paint a picture to our audience that there's also a cultural problem within our country in terms of identifying arts as actually being a potential contributor towards economic development, because the perception is still that art can, in terms of a professional space, it's not as dignified in the eyes of the masses compared to other professions. So my question to you, Lebo, as an academic, as a creative, is how does the average Motswana measure the value of art? Like, when you tell someone who doesn't know anything about theater that, no, I'm going to watch a show at my Tisong or wherever, and the response is basically, what do you mean a show? Like, you're gonna watch a drama, a sketch, like just two people acting. So I'm trying to understand that what's the typical value that the Motswana uses when it comes to the arts and creativity?
I'm gonna give a political answer, because sometimes I don't know whether it's that we don't value the arts, or we don't value our art specific. Because if somebody says an act from South Africa is coming, people will pop money.
Yeah.
Right? 200 pula, 100 pula. If Mighty Song says they're bringing the Russian ballet, or even the Joburg ballet, people will pop, right? But if I say I'm doing a show, suddenly it's not worth paying for. So sometimes I have to stop and ask myself, is it that we don't value art full stop, or that we don't value our art specifically?
Lebo,
yes.
Can we just try and wrap it up, because we're about to get kicked out now?
I'm trying to wrap it up. So my general thing is that the interest is there. People do appreciate theater, but there is also a disconnect between how we value our things, local productions, versus how we value external productions. So that's another barrier that's there. So I think, and then also it's because other people make money from arts except artists. So it's not so much the value of the art itself as it is what's in it for other people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, you did. I just wish we had more time to really talk about this, like in full length, because there's so much. But anyway, Lebo, because of time, we're just gonna end it there. But thank you so much for your participation. I'm sure that everyone took a lot from our brief interaction. So Yvette, over to you.
Thank you.
You've opened up a really big and a really important and a really controversial conversation that I think you're right, does need a full kind of unpacking. And it's one of the reasons why we set up the network is people are really interested in new work, but people are really scared to take a chance on it economically. So, you know, recently I was at the National Theatre. I was asked to speak to the work of Fugard. And one of the issues I asked the audience is, why will they pay to see Fugard, but not a new play? And it's because they know what they're going to get. And also the programmers know they're going to get an audience, and it's about money. It is about money. But how do we make people take risks? How do we make people excited for new work and different work? And how do we convince programmers that it really is in their best interest to encourage local artists, new artists, young artists, women? And this is part of some of the work that we've set ourselves as a network. So having these conversations is important, but how do we get other people to have these conversations, particularly programmers, I think is a really important thing that we need to think about as a group. And I think it's difficult and it's slow. And I think Zaza came up with some quite interesting ideas. And I think sharing how we might do that and collaborate. I think collaboration is really important. Mm-hmm. So let's keep these questions going and not just think, we've run out of time, but actually we've got a lot of work to do going forward. And thank you very much for that really important conversation. But we never have enough time. I'm going to ask Leanne now to join us. Leanne is a dance lecturer from the University of Natal, KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, but she's also been one of the founding members of Agenda. It's a journal, South African journal, that's been published for the past 30 years that's really highlighted debates around women's rights and gender issues. It promotes critical thinking and debate around the capacity of both men and women to challenge gender discrimination and injustice. So this isn't just about theatre, it's actually about gender widely and how we can involve as many people as possible in these conversations. She's just co-edited a special issue with Ongezwe Mbele, stunning, sorry, I think I'm mauled her surname, sorry, as co-editors of a special issue on cultural dialogues for feminist creatives, Southern voices. And I've asked you to come as a respondent today to just pick up some of the interesting threads from the conversations of the creatives and maybe pose a few challenges for us as a network. So Leanne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much, Yvette, and it's my absolute joy and delight to be here. I feel so humbled sitting here in Durban in South Africa to be in the company of beautiful women and sharing stories. And I kind of reminded of the old feminist adage that the personal is political. And that, we kind of going on about we're not understanding the technology and we're making mistakes, but it doesn't matter because here we are in this beautiful space sharing our stories, and really also want to go back to something that Auntie Shine said about the importance of telling our stories, of explaining who and what we are. And I think that's what we've done this afternoon. And I want to just say thank you so much for the incredible privilege of being here to listen to you. I've read some of your works and I've seen some of your plays live and obviously on broadcast as well. So just beautiful to hear your voices and for us to talk. And I think Yvette's right. Some incredible points have been raised that I think make us aware of how much work that we have to go ahead of us. I mean, the first thing I'm really always struck by is that as a woman creative, and as a woman theatre maker or playwright, or in my context, perhaps a choreographer and a dancer, we're never just one thing. I'm always amazed that all of us are doing 16 different roles. We are teachers, we academics, we arts administrators. And it seems to me almost the zeitgeist of being an artist on the African continent means that you can't just be a playwright, you can't just be a theatre director or a choreographer. And I think that in a way, for me, it's quite a significant point when I'm listening to you all speak, that in our support and care for each other, we need to also understand that the care and support is, yes, the writing workshops, yes, the artistic support, but also we all need administrative support. We need support. If I listen to Lebo speaking about whether we film our theatre production or we go to make a pilot for a series, these are important conversations, and I think that the multiple roles that women have to occupy in order to be creatives is something that the network, I know, looks after, and for me very significant in understanding that we never just one thing. And I was really struck by that today. I was struck by the fact that not only is COVID forcing us to rethink our art, but it's also forcing us into more roles in order to be creative. So I just wanted to honor everyone and say that for me, I really heard that and I understood that. And as someone I know, I'm fundraising and then I'm running to the studio and then I'm running to go and teach. So I understand this kind of almost schizophrenic life that we live as women on the continent, just trying to be artists and to make the work that we make. And as Auntie Shine says, to have our voices heard, which should be actually be the most simple thing in the world, just to let your voice be heard and to tell your story, but it's not always that easy. So for me, I just wanted to reflect that back and just really honor all of you for the recognition and understanding of all the things that you are doing to do that. I'm also really particularly struck by the idea that the voices of women on the continent and the stories that we have to tell, and again, how much we have to go through in order to just get to those stories. So I love, you know, the beautiful solutions that have been suggested. I loved the way Zaza, you know, just the idea of going to a friend's house and broadcasting from the home, and even though they absconded, it's just, you know, the idea of bringing theatre into your home is an intimacy and a personal thing that is just so profound. I love the fact of hearing about Auntie Shine doing storytelling through the internet in a digital space. It just seems so beautiful and possible. And I know also as an artist myself that if we have to wait for money, we will never make art. And that as women creatives, this is what the network, I think, is for, is to kind of support us and say, you can continue to make your art without all the bells and whistles. And also that, you know, as you know, Zaza was pointing out, the idea that as people living in Africa, when we do have the American and the Europeans coming who do actually only occupy one position of playwright or director, we are reminded of how much we are and how much we do, because we have to fulfill all those roles in the middle of a performance, running to turn a generator on, you know, running, selling tickets, and, you know, all of that stuff. So I really just wanted to say that I really honor that. And, you know, obviously through COVID, I mean, listening to Lebo and Neo speak, you know, a lot of what you're saying about Botswana, I think is very much the same in sub-Saharan Africa. I think whether it's South Africa, Mozambique, you know, the only sector in South African society that has absolutely not been allowed to open is the theatre and entertainment industry. Everybody else, even alcohol sales are allowed now. Even nightclubs are open, but theatres aren't. So we share that common context of struggles with each other and the devastation. But I also respect so deeply your beginning the conversation around who and what we are in a time of COVID, which has asked all of us to really begin to rethink who and what we are as creatives. And indeed, what I'm so interested in, what are the stories that we're going to tell as we come out of this? And for that, I really look forward to engaging all of you so much more. So I'm going to leave it there because I know time is limited, but I just want to say what a privilege and pleasure it's been here. And thank you, Yvette, and the Playwright Network for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leanne. And also thank you for hearing and in a way sharing back to us what we've heard today. That's been really, really helpful and beautiful. So we only have 5 minutes of the session left, which is really, you know, scary considering that I actually booked extra time. I'm going to invite Philly to please return and wind this up for us. She's been, along with Neo and Tosin, a really driving force for this event today. She's helped hugely with a lot of the tech as well, but was going to pull together maybe some questions and things going forward for us. But in 5 minutes, perhaps I'd invite people to write some suggestions in the chat function. And Philly, to you for the final word. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Thank you to the audience as well for gracing us with, I can't see you, but I know I can see you somehow. If anyone has any questions, please write in the chat and I'll try to read them out. And yeah, some people will have to answer the questions. So sorry about that, but yeah, just gonna check if we have any questions from our audience. Okay, nothing is coming up at the moment. Or if you can quickly switch on your mic and even if it's not a question, isn't it, Yvette? If it's not a question, just a comment, your thoughts. I mean, 5 minutes is a lot for now, I think. And if there's nothing else, again, there's no problem. Okay. Because we are out of time, to be honest. I want to say thank you once again to everybody for your time and for making this happen, because without the audience, yet again, this would be just another Zoom session. And I want to thank all the artists who came through for, I'm nervous. I don't know why. I don't like saying goodbye, I think. But now I hope you have a little bit of understanding what AWPN is and what it is all about. We have a survey going around. We would like to know more of you. I think in the audience, we have a lot of artists, a lot of creatives around our continent. Please avail yourselves to us, because we don't know where you are, who you are. We don't know. We'd love to know your work. We have Facebook. We have also Instagram. Follow us and we will follow you back. I don't know if I'm missing anything else. There's a lot of links in our chat as well. Follow all these links, see the other creatives' work. Let's all network, let's connect. Someone said Nigeria is a big state. So imagine somewhere in Nigeria, there's a group of creatives that we do not know, and you probably know. So open that up as well, so that we know, Over to you, Yvette, because I'm going to ramble. Thank you to everybody. Leanne.
Oh, that was lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. We were trying to live stream on Facebook, but I think my technology failed me in that, but we have recorded and we will upload as much as we can so that people that didn't manage to get on can catch up and maybe see some of the program. And as Philly said, please just connect yourselves and other people. We've done some quite interesting work with Instagram, short filming of people's performances, some interviews. So the material is growing and and people becoming too. So as she said, avail yourself and join us. And collaboration means critical mass and critical mass. So thank you very much. And if you want to come on screen, that would be great. So let's just give everyone a big hand and give yourselves a big hand too. So thank you. Yay. And have a good evening, wherever you are.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure. You did incredibly well, everybody.
Yes.
I still got banjo. Oh.
That was amazing. But I think next time we really need to see performances.
Feeling, see what your dog is excited.
Moments of performance were beautiful. Philly? Oh, she's gone. So Tosin, that was lovely, and Auntie Shan was beautiful, and you know, I'll definitely go and see this work. So that's beautiful.
Thank you, Yvette.
Brilliant. So listen, we've recorded this. Is there any way we can now get the recorded